That one glorious word represents more than just the geography between the Sabine and the Rio Grande. It represents a unique idea and way of life. A life of rugged individualism, proud self-reliance, gritty toughness, and fierce independence. That is what made Texas, and that is what will save her again. Howdy, folks. Sam Houston here. I want to thank you for tuning into the Feed Bandit podcast. Feed Bandit is the Texas first outdoors brand built by rabid Texans, for rabid Texans, and all those who aim to be one someday. We unapologetically promote the ideals that shape our Texas pride and Texas first patriotism through our love of hunting, the outdoors, and the gear and apparel we create. Texas, above all else, preserve the tradition, protect the legacy. Check us out at feedbandit.com. And to repeat that great rallying cry from a former colleague of mine, liberty or death. Now, enough of my talking. Here are a couple of bandits that love Texas as much as I do. Enjoy.
Howdy, friend. Welcome back to the Feed Bandit podcast. Jimmy back with you. And this is part 2. We're continuing the 2-part series we're doing, mini-series, if you will, on predator hunting. And this time we're going to talk about decoys for predators. Do they work? Should you try them? Well, I don't know. Let's find out. The coyote came at the charge. 50 feet out from Frankenhair, the anxious critter slid to a stop. Right front foot was in the air, causing me to be amused. That damn fool yote thinks he's a pointer, my brain said to itself, and then that brain chuckled. At about then, the coyote began a desperate sneak, and that sneak continued until the critter was somewhat close. Suddenly, when the sneaker was 10 feet out, it launched to land exactly on the unconcerned decoy. That decoy being a very modest effort at taxidermy, a soft plastic form covered with the ratty hide from a black-tailed jackrabbit. Even though the decoy did not look all that good, it apparently tasted worse. The coyote began a trot that would take the prize to a place of privacy. That trot was stopped after a step or two, and the coyote spit out old Frank, then slunk off into the greasewood of the Papago. Hell yes, it happened. I was there. So was Chuck Spearman. We saw it all. A second coyote decoy interaction took place some miles away later in the day. Chuck and I made a stand in somewhat crowded greasewoods, a place decorated with isolated clumps of prickly pear cactus, the kind that makes the pretty yellow flowers and then the succulent red fruit. Anyway, Frankenhair was 50 feet to the front, looking mildly amused, as he always did. Chuck and I were within the scrawny arms of a creosote bush, our Canon autofocus cameras at the ready. The coyote came at a gallop, making what I call a run-by a maneuver that lets the critter maintain full speed as he makes the reconnoiter. The coyote saw the decoy and his eyeballs sort of popped. The yote locked in on the decoy but continued the run-by, a situation that can lead to excitement when in cactus country. And it did. The coyote ran full speed into a prickly pear. Chuck and I laughed out loud as the critter made the retreat. Decoys are like that, we agreed. They kept the hunt interesting because the screamers never know what in the hell will happen next. Having said all that, it is also proper to consider a couple of other aspects to critter calling decoys. Mainly, are they all that good? Well, they help to put more fur on the stretcher. I say maybe and no, and then qualify. My experience with decoys causes me to think such can be dandy for those who scream to the camera or scream to a camcorder. A critter that comes to the call, the way I see it, is responding to an audio. That critter expects to see the picture when he gets close. When they do not, the light bulb lights and they get the hell gone. Such is not a great problem for gunners. A predator that comes close enough to see the rabbit is usually close enough to kill. You're not likely to kill that critter one bit deader if he loiters to gaze at the decoy. Such action at times can permit a more precise shot placement. Even so, the main strength owned by a critter calling decoy goes to the cameraman. Some critters that come to the call, when they see the decoy, do goofy things. A good many stick around a lot longer than they might otherwise, providing the opportunity to burn up a lot of tape or a lot of film. I've experimented with decoys of varying personality. Frankenhare has been mentioned. Frank started his decoy hood as a hunkered hare, a critter that sat to think pure thoughts while a coyote made the sneak with murder on his mind. The original Frankenhare was not all that good. You want to know the truth? Well, many of the customers ran in and ran out and never saw Frank. Oh well, back to the laboratory. Frankenhare 2 was somewhat improved. The hare hide was stretched over a running rabbit form, leading the suggestion of movement but no movement. Frankenhare 3 did better. Larry and I modified the running habit form to permit movement. We placed a steel rod through the middle of the body, extending the rod so that an inch or so protruded beyond the body. Those rod's extensions were positioned within stirrups that came up out of the base. The least tug on the nose would cause Frankenhare 3 to nod his head agreeably. I screwed an eye hook into the nose, tied on a monofilament line drawn from a Zebco reel, took the reel back to the setup, and tugged when a customer came. That little bit of movement allowed about every customer a good look. Most reacted. We became encouraged. The concept of the moving decoy was extended. The next effort involved a battery-powered, hair-covered bit of nonsense marketed under the name My Lovely Puppy. She walks and turns her head, she barks and wags her tail. The little critter came with a leash, actually a cord containing the controls, and a cute pink ribbon for $13. Figuring the price was right, I figured what the hell, so we bought a couple. My Lovely Puppy was not an immediate success. The short leash caused her to sit close to the gun during the screaming. A critter looking to see her walk, bark, and wag her tail was bound to see the two big guys hunkered close by. We messed around with Lovely Puppy, hoping to make her better. We tied into the cord and inserted 25 feet of telephone wire, small diameter stuff. Reviews were mixed. One bobcat and a few fox appreciated our puppy. Most coyote customers did not. We moved on with the search to find the perfect decoy. Our next effort was high-tech. At least it costs considerably more. I bought a radio-controlled, about $100 or so, toy 4x4, whip antenna and all. In the field, I covered most of the plastic with a tan gray fox hide. I was ready. The coyote came from out of the greasewood, maybe 100 feet or so out into the overgrazed meadow, sending the bad eye over the 200 or 300 yards that separated us. Figuring it was time to give him a look at the secret weapon, I pushed a button to make the motorized fox move a bit. Not a lot, but enough to show life. I pressed the wrong button. The 4x4 took off at the race, fox fur flapping, antenna to the rear like some damn stinger, headed right at the coyote. The coyote turned and started a desperate depart with the 4x4 fox in hot pursuit. I've not seen a coyote or a 4x4 fox run so fast. Somewhere in there, we also tried out Frankenyote, another home taxidermy effort. It does not embarrass me to say we made a mistake or two. Mistake 1? Being hooked on the trophy aspect. We chose the hide from the biggest coyote we had and placed that hide on the biggest taxidermy form. Mistake 2? We combined our meager talents to deliver a dominance demeanor. We realized our miscalculation the first time afield. We set up with an open greasewood at a place we had called Coyote before. Frankenyote snarled from maybe 50 yards out. The coyote, either a pup or a little bitch, came at the run, but slid to a stop when it saw Frank. Turning tail, the little coyote made a desperate retreat. I'm almost sure I heard a pitiful yipping, but Larry says no. Turns out the sound I heard was Larry giggling. Anyway, trying to sort things out, we agreed that a big and dominant male coyote decoy is not great. Think about it. How would you react if you came up upon John Wayne with a toothache? Other experiments were modest. One involved using a frozen roadkill jackrabbit as a decoy. A technique that wasn't that bad early in the day, but turned nasty by afternoon. We had also used the tan hide of a gray fox, laid upon a rock or draped across a limb. One configuration works somewhat. We used monofilament line to tie the skin to the slender branch of a greasewood, leaving several inches of line between limb and fox. The least bit of wind would cause the fox to move. Several called critters, mostly coyote, showed appreciation, making an attempt to trash the fox. Where do we stand now on the use of decoys? Sorta at the idle. Somewhere in my head, there's one more decoy idea. I see Frankenhair mounted on a platform, sharing space with the remote control mechanism from a model airplane. I see that contraption out front with the Beastmasters hidden in the brush. Larry manning the camcorder and me holding the controls. A coyote appears, I push buttons to cause a rabbit to gyrate. The coyote goes crazy, charges, and runs off with me, Larry, in hot pursuit. Ah, dreams. Yeah, so there are some pretty good decoys out there right now that you could get that do a lot of motion similar to that. But it would be fun to make your own. An old Corn Bandit, he had one that he made. I don't know what the fur came from. Maybe it came from some tan hide somewhere or something like that. But he made it. It was the most alien-looking critter that could possibly exist. And he called it Duncan. A thing of beauty and a thing of abomination. But it was funny. It was funny. I wonder where Duncan is now. I think Duncan got destroyed either by his dog or something else. I can't remember. We'll have to ask him. But anyway. Well, with that, I'm going to leave y'all on this edition of the Feed Bandit podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And stay tuned for the next edition. We'll be talking more strategy, especially, we'll have some more whitetail strategies since we're deep in that season and getting deeper. So that's going to be fun. Also, turkey. I mean, you can go out there and kill some turkey. And then, of course, all year long is predators. So keep tuned in for all that type of stuff. And don't forget to go and check out our the hats, the bandit caps, and the camp polos we have on our website. We think they are some of the more unique ones that you'll find out there. Shirts are very comfortable, and they'll allow you to either, depending on which one you choose, wear your Texas pride or show off the love of hunting. So we'd really appreciate it if you at least just went out and took a gander. We try to give a no risk offer to you guys. We make sure we guarantee that it'll fit. If not, we'll make it right. Okay, so really kind of a no risk on your part. But anything that's out there that you like, it would really help us out, keep this podcast on the air. So once again, really appreciate you listening, and we will talk to you on the next one. All right, remember, support your local feed store. You take care.
Well, I hope the bandits gave you an interesting episode that either entertained or educated you. Or better yet, both. Hell, I told them this podcasting thing looks harder to do than defeating Santa Anna. So if you would, please help them out by sharing it with all your like-minded friends to help the bandits get the word out. And don't forget to check us out at feedbandit.com and grab some gear and apparel to support the cause of Texas. Remember, Texas, above all else, preserve the tradition, protect the legacy. Finally, as I said some time ago on the eve of the great battle, and I vigorously repeat here again, be men, be free men, that your children may bless their father's name. Well, fellow bandit, until next time.